What is up, guys? Bringing you a special little Afterpulse video here today. I'm going to be telling you basically how to dominate handgun event matches in Afterpulse. So I'm just going to start off. General play strategy is one, obviously know your spawns and know your map. That's basically the same thing, basically saying the same thing there. You know, once you get to a certain point where you're getting enough kills, you know, after you kill an enemy, he has to spawn, right? So if you know where he's spawning, you can start working those spawns, and you can't really spawn trap with a handgun, but you can run back and forth between spawns and do enough damage that, you know, you really start to rack up some kills. So definitely know your spawns, know your maps. You know, knowing your maps comes down to another tip, which is always keep moving. So definitely keep moving, just like I'm doing here. You know, I'm just gonna kind of go through these tips and not necessarily show you that specific example as I'm talking about it, but you know, just keep moving. I should be moving the whole time. So as I'm talking about this, I am moving around. You know, just you know, there's really no reason to really stand still as I'm standing still here. You see, I mean, right then again, we're just jumping back out. Just keep moving. Just keep moving. You know. I mean, literally, I can't say it enough. Just keep moving. There's no reason not to be moving. And so then, aside from knowing the maps, knowing your spawns, and staying moving, this is team deathmatch. Now there is deathmatch, and deathmatch, the whole team strategy doesn't really apply. But if you are playing TDM, definitely follow your teammates, stay by your teammates. That's always a good idea. You can kind of steal kills from your teammate, you know, as selfish as that sounds, and as, quite frankly, as selfish as that is. But I mean, ultimately you're helping your team win the game. Maybe the enemy that you killed was about to kill your teammate, and then you swooped in and took the kill. But you know, if your enemy damages a guy, you know, definitely start shooting at that guy, because you can easily steal that kill in, you know, 1 or 2 bullets, right? So definitely it's good to follow your teammates. It's not a must, but it's good. And then in terms of attacking other teams, just really try to stay away from them when they are together in groups. You know, I mean, once you get like a 6-star KG-18, you got 30 rounds. You can definitely take out more than one person with that gun. But it's going to be hard. It's still going to be very hard, and you want to focus on one person at a time. And if you're going 1 versus 2, 1 versus 3, you know, 1 versus 4, I mean, it's just insane. There's really no way you can do it, you know. You know, it's just not, your handgun's not going to be a UNK CQB Charlie, right? So really just try to get 1 kill at a time. Like right there, I mean, there's 2 guys right there. Like, you know, what can you even do in that situation? It's really hard. And not to mention with the auto aim, your auto aim kind of jumps between the 2 players, so it's almost impossible, even, you know, regardless of how skilled you are, it's almost impossible to just focus on one guy and kill both guys. So if you're ever going against 2 players, you pretty much have to take out both players, or else you're just not going to make it, right? So that's just some general strategy there. And then let's see, we just finished this match. I don't know if I articulated that very well, but we went 13-6-1, best on our team. You know, I don't want to sound like I think I'm good at handgun matches or anything like that. I'm just hopefully providing some tips that, you know, should help a lot of guys out there, but a lot of the guys know this already. You know, there's a lot of players better than me out there, so you know, I don't want to sound like I have a big head here or anything, just trying to help out with some tips. And so then I want to jump into weapons. I think KG-18 Vet, I think that's still the best handgun event weapon, you know, bar none. I mean, nothing can beat it. And that goes back to the whole rate of fire argument. I mean, it's got the rate of fire, and then there's lots of KG-18 variants, but that one has more range, and so that just puts it at the top. You know, having the rate of fire plus a little bit of range, that definitely puts it at the top. And then right below that, I would say the KG-18 Chrome or Nightcrawler editions, and I would say those are pretty much tied with the Revolvers. I know a lot of people with the Revolvers would argue that, you know, I've never had my hands on a revolver, so maybe this is a biased opinion. But I've never felt too much of a threat going against the Revolvers. At least I've never felt more of a threat against that versus a KG-18 Chrome or Nightcrawler, right? So I've kind of put them equal, and they both have their own strengths and weaknesses, which I'll get to in a second. But you know, if you don't have a KG-18 vet, which I wouldn't expect you to, because vets are extremely rare, right? I think definitely try to get a KG-18 Chrome. You know, Nightcrawlers are only available at certain times. If they, you know, I would assume they'll bring them back at some point in the future, but they've already had them before, and then they brought them back, and you know, blah blah blah. But the Chromes are pretty easy to get. You know, just finish top 10, top 5%, and you have a good chance at getting some KG-18 Chromes, especially the 5-star. You know, there's no reason you can't get 2 5-stars and build them into a 6. I mean, you know, it's really not hard to do. You know, there's no other way to say it. So definitely try to get that, and then anything other than those weapons, it's just not a great idea. I mean, if you're having fun, if you're messing around, you know, sure, whatever, you know, have some fun with it, but you know, and that said, obviously like a 7-star MFX9 is going to do better than a 4-star KG-18 Chrome, right? Like, you know, I'm not trying to put it like that, you know what I'm saying? This is assuming that they're all at relatively the same star level. Like a 6-star KG-18 is just quite frankly better than a 6-star MFX9, regardless of the range. And so as for the KG-18 specifically, you know, I got a handful of videos on the KG-18 out there. Definitely get it to 6 stars. That extra ammo is just incredible. Like, I can't even say it enough how important that extra ammo is. And then lastly, just on weapons, I would say make sure your primary is something that's going to be obvious if you're accidentally using it. Now, you saw in some of these matches here, I've been killed by UNKs and the KPM Chrome. I mean, I could call it a lot of players. You know, I got video footage on a lot of players using different weapons in Event. You know, I'm not sure if they're doing it by accident. But I would say make it something that's obvious that you're accidentally using it, because sometimes it's hard to tell. If you have a UNK on as your primary, you know, you might start shooting it and not even realize. You know, I know I've done that like once, maybe twice. But I don't usually do it. I'm usually pretty good at those things, but I know a lot of people have done that. You know, I like my LSM because it's red, and my KG-18 is just like silver, I guess. Chrome, obviously. And so I think it's pretty obvious when my LSM veteran is on my back there. Like, it's pretty obvious to tell. And then, you know, I'd stay away from something too big. I mean, KPK would be easy to tell, especially with the portability difference, but it almost kind of gets in the way of your vision when it's sitting on your back like that, you know? So, but there we go, 15-7, best in the match, best on the team. You know, these tips work, you know, not getting a big head, but they do work, you know? And I mean, there's only so much you can do at the end of the day. Doing well in events and placing well comes down to how much time you spend playing, right? But I'm just going to get to a couple more points here, then I'm just going to show you my gear loadout, which I think is the best gear, you know, minus a couple pieces, but I'll get into that in a second here. And so I just want to talk about how to counter certain weapons. I talked about the revolver, I talked about the KG-18. To counter the revolver, I think number one is strafe. Always be strafing, which if you don't know, you know, I didn't know before I really played this game and heard other people say it. Strafing just basically means move back and forth very quickly, right? I mean, literally just, you know, swipe left and right. It really doesn't affect your aim. If anything, it might even make you more accurate. You know, I don't know exactly how the game mechanics work, but there could be an argument for that. You know, not opposed to standing still, you're probably going to always be more accurate standing still, but anyways, that's all the other discussion. Always be strafing. That goes for the KG-18 as well, but definitely against the revolver, because it's a slow rate of fire. It's going to be very hard for your opponent to hit you. The other thing is count their shots. I think the revolvers have about 6 ammo. You know, it's a low number, it's a low rate of fire, high damage weapon, so count their shots. It's very easy to count their shots. It doesn't take long for them to expel 6 shots, and you know that's your moment. You can jump in, take them out, very easy. Just wait for them to reload. It's very, very easy in that sense, especially with that distinct sound. It's so easy to count. And then lastly, I would say to counter the revolvers, just move into close range, because their range is their advantage. I think the revolvers have generally, you know, whatever, estimating, you know, whatever, summing them all up, averaging them, whatever. I guess average is the word I'm looking for. I would say an average revolver has around 1500 range, and your KG-18 is going to have around like 400, maybe 600 with the vet. So move into close range to, one, get within the range that you can shoot, but two, don't let them get their range advantage. You know what I'm saying? Like if you stay away from them, they're going to be able to take you out, but you can't take them out. And so then I'll kind of jump into how to counter the KG-18. If you do have the revolver, try to keep your enemies at range, because you can use that range to your advantage. You know, like I said, revolvers have around 1500, the KG-18 has around 400, and then the veteran has around 600. So, I mean, you can seriously, you know, take them out from a good distance, and the KG-18 won't even be able to touch you. And then the only other tip really I have for countering the KG-18 is quite frankly just outplaying them, and that goes back to knowing your spawns, knowing your maps, and just keep moving. You know, that's just skill. You know, skill can't really be taught. You know, it has to be learned, and that made no sense, but you kind of get what I'm saying. I mean, you really, you know, just the more experience you have, the more you'll get that. And then a few more things here before I go too long. I'll try to keep it under 15 minutes here. Gadgets, you know, you can do spotters, obviously, you can do medkits, obviously. It's easy to get a bad reputation if you're using spotters, if you're using medkits, you know, in events in general, you know, in any competitions in Afterpulse. But obviously, you know, spotters and medkits could easily make you do a lot better. So let's say you don't touch those. I would say just go with your stuns, not the concussions, but the stuns, the ones you can buy for cash. Those are just the easiest, easy to replace, very cheap, you know, easy to buy a ton. You know, just farm some cash one day and just go into the shop, buy a couple hundred of those guys, and you're set for a while. So, you know, they're nice to have, and you know, it's debatable whether throwing stuns is fine in events, but I think it's fine because there's a clear counter for it, and I've kind of had this discussion before in past videos, but it was a while ago. I think spotters and medkits not really the most fair because there's no counter for it, but stuns, I mean, there's clearly gear in the game that negates the stun effect, right? So I think stuns are completely fair in my opinion, but you know, it's debatable. Like shotgun events, it kind of gets annoying when people are throwing stuns, but you know, handgun events, I think it's fine. And so now we'll kind of get into gear here. You know, number one tip, mobility over protection for sure. That goes back to keep moving. You want to keep moving, especially with handguns. Like example, say you have a KG-18, you're going against a revolver. I said you want to get into their range. You know, you want to be able to move quick. You want to be able to move into their range very quick before they can even shoot you, right? And then mobility is going to help with your strafing as well. I mean, little things like that. Mobility over protection for sure, but protection is very important. And then I'll just get into the specific gear here. You know, headgear, I would say the Mamba mask is going to be your best. That's plus 15% range with handgun. And then trying to look up gear real quick here. See if I can pull it up on my wiki as I record this. But torso piece and head and pants piece. You know, torso, I think honestly the 6-star beret vest is the best. And I'm just gonna look at the Jester gear real quick because I don't remember the details on the Jester gear. I know a lot of people wear that for handguns. So let me try to figure that out real quick. But if you don't have the Jester gear, and you know, waiting to see what that is exactly because I don't remember, I don't have it myself. I think your 6-star beret vest is going to be the best because it has great base protection and it has great mobility. It has 870, it's only 10 points different than the light urban vest, and it has higher base protection than the light urban vest. So it's going to be better. It's going to keep you alive, and it's going to basically be the same portability as the light urban vest. So definitely not bad at all. I think that's the best choice, except for the Jester gear, which I'm still looking up here. Then for pants, I mentioned countering stun gadgets. It's definitely a good idea if you have the new Tiger pants. I think those are amazing. And then all the other stun protection pants are right around 850 portability. Their portability doesn't change much. but the foxtrot pants do have the best defense, obviously. So if you don't have the tiger pants, try to get the foxtrot pants if you want that stun protection. But the tiger pants are really nice, 50 extra points of portability compared to the foxtrot pants. Those are really nice. And other than those, really the only other pants that you should wear, in my opinion, are the civilian black jeans. And those will just give you the ultimate portability, but you will have low defense, because I think those are the fastest pants that you could possibly have for a handgun weapon. Let me see, we got so the Jester set is 2-piece set plus 10% damage with handgun, 3-piece set plus 20% damage with handgun. The mask has plus 10% range with handgun, so the Mamba mask actually has a better boost in range. But I guess, if you have the full Jester set, if you have a 2-piece Jester set, you can mix and match that in here as well. Like I said, I don't have the Jester gear. I don't have one of those fancy tester accounts, so I can't, test it out or anything. Yeah, so the Jester legs plus 10% accuracy while on the move with handgun, and then the torso piece is defense against SMG. So you can mix and match that in there as well. I'm not going to go through all the possible combinations, but if you don't have the Jester gear, I think the Mamba Mask, the 6-star beret, Tactical Beret Vest, what it's called, and Tiger Pants is amazing. That's what I got this video. These videos, these gameplays, whatever, and hopefully this helps. I think that pretty much sums it up. I'm rambling on here a little bit. I think I really touched on some good points. I kind of hashed these out ahead of time before making the video, so hopefully you guys enjoy it. Hopefully you guys can appreciate it as I'm chewing up my words here. But yeah, I think that does it. Go out there and let's wreck some handgun events. Get some free gold, maybe a gear crate if you get top 5% or higher. Yeah, that'll do it. Be sure to subscribe if you are not subscribed, and as always, I will catch you on the next video.